Hare Krishna. Today we are reading from the Srimad Bagvatam, Canto 10, Chapter 13. Today we are reading from text number 41. The name of this chapter is Brahma stealing the boys and calves. So over here, yesterday we were reading how Lord Balram was trying to understand why are the cows getting attracted to the calves. The parents' attraction and love is growing so much to their kids. And even Balram, his own attraction, right, is growing for the friends, right? So Balram realized yesterday, he's through the transcendental eye, that the calves and these Krishna's friends were actually all Krishna himself. Right? Brahma thought first it was some Maya, some Yog Maya that was happening where their love, instead of growing for Krishna, was growing for the friends and the calves. Right? So now, today in text 41, so yesterday when Lord Brahma returned, after only a moment had passed in Brahmalok, but 1 year had passed on earth, he saw that although by human measurement a complete year had passed by, Lord Krishna, after all that time, was engaged just as before in playing with the boys and the calves, who were Krishna's expansions. So in text 41, Lord Brahma thought, whatever boys and calves there were in Gokul, I have kept them sleeping on my bed of my mystic potency, and to this very day they have not yet risen. So Brahma himself took those cows and those calves and those cowherd boys, Krishna's friends, and he made them sleep on his bed. And they were still sleeping through his mystic potency. We all have some kind of mystic potency, right? And so that mystic potency, Brahma, who is the creator of this universe, has a lot more of that, but still nowhere close to that of Krishna. Not close to how much Krishna has that potency. So now, over here, Brahma began to think that what is happening? All of these same boys and the calves are in Brahmalok, right? For 1 year, they have been lying down by his mystic potency, right? Maybe he thought that, that Krishna brought them back from there. Then, however, Brahma saw that in that same Maya, right, that all of the boys were still there actually in Brahmalok. Brahma saw that the calves and boy he had taken were still in that same place. He could not understand how those original calves and the boys were in Brahmalok and over here also. They had the same features, the same mentality, they had the same way of speaking, and Brahma over here was now puzzled. But how is this? Right? So in text 42, over here, Sukdev Goswami continues that a similar number of boys and calves have been playing with Krishna for 1 whole year, yet they are different from the ones illusioned by my mystic potency. Who are they? Where did they come from? That's what everyone is wondering. Brahma was very surprised that his power was neglected, right? That his mystic potency was neglected. Without touching the original cows and cowherd boys kept by Brahma, Krishna had created another whole new set of expansion of the calves and the boys. And Brahma's power was now superseded. He saw that there is someone more powerful than me. And that this Krishna is actually Krishna. He's going to start realizing that now. And he's going to start feeling ashamed for what he has done. Right in text 43. Thus Lord Brahma, thinking and thinking for a long time, tried to distinguish between those two sets of boys who were each separately existing. He tried to understand who was real and who was not real, but he couldn't understand at all. Right? He was trying to understand how can there be two sets of boys and calves at the same time, right? Are they merely, just Krishna's creations? Have they been created by Krishna? Or were the ones that were sleeping that I took to Golok, to Brahmalok? Are they the ones who Krishna created? Or are these the ones over here that Krishna created? Right? Brahma thought about this subject, when we have some surprise come our way or a challenge, we start thinking of how we can solve all of this. Brahma started to think in different ways, just like that. But how can this be? Right? Let me go back to the Brahmalok and see if they are still there. Right? Did Krishna go over there and put them back here? Is he trying to fool me? Right? But he was thinking so much he couldn't understand any of this at all. He could not understand what was happening. He was so puzzled because Brahma is the creator of the entire universe and all of the living beings. So how can anyone trick that Brahma? Right? How can anyone trick that Brahma? In text 44, thus, because Lord Brahma wanted to mystify the all-pervading Lord Krishna, who can never be mystified, but who, on the contrary, mystifies the entire universe, he himself was put into bewilderment by his own mystic power. So Brahma wanted to confuse Krishna. He wanted to see how all the Vrajvasis will react, what they will say to Krishna, who was acting as God over here and eating from the small over there, the plates or the leaves, eating the food from the leaves of the cowherd boys. That Krishna who is offered chapan bhog every single day. That Krishna is merely eating like his food from the friend's plate. He's stealing the chas of the gopis. He's stealing the butter of the gopis. How can this be Krishna? Now we are starting to think, Brahma, but is this possible? How can someone supersede my power? Right? He was himself now mystified. Brahma wanted to mystify Krishna, he wanted to confuse Krishna, but Brahma himself now became confused. Right? He was put into bewilderment about his own power. You start to question everything yourself. So Brahma started to do the same and start to question everything. Right? Everyone also does the same thing. Scientists, right? Philosophers, they challenge that who is God, who is Krishna. They try to supersede Krishna. They say, who can, what is God? Who can do this? And we can do that, right? This whole earth started with the Big Bang. They do not understand that where there is a creation, there is a creator. And Krishna, they challenge like that. Oh, I don't believe in God, I am atheist. Right? I can do everything, all of these things. Science can do it. But in doing so, when they challenge Krishna in that way, right, they will end up suffering more for it. So one from this we should learn lesson that we should not try and overcome Krishna. Srila Prabhupada also writes that. Rather, instead of endeavoring to surpass him, we should surrender to him. Just like Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Sarva Dharman Parityajaya Mam Ekam Sharanam Raja. Right? Instead of trying to defeat Krishna or supersede or overtake Krishna. We should surrender onto Krishna. Instead of defeating Krishna, Brahma himself was defeated over here. He could not understand what was happening, what Krishna was doing, what is this, right? Even Brahma, who is the creator of this universe, was bewildered. So, how can the scientist and all of these other regular people who are challenging God not become bewildered? Right? Instead, we should surrender. That's why Krishna sends down the Guru Maharaj so that we do not get bewildered like how Brahma did. How Brahma was confused, how he was bewildered. Right? We too are confused. Who is God? Who should we pray to? Why are there so many gods in the Hindu religion? Then, as you start learning from the spiritual master that there is one God, just like how every company has one CEO and everyone else, right? Managing directors, senior directors, all of them work under the orders of the CEO. Similarly, Krishna is God. All of the demigods work under the orders of Krishna. In fact, the demigods also wait. They pray to receive a human life so that they can chant Krishna's name and pray to Krishna. Because mukti, right, liberation, going back to Golokdham is only possible in this human life. Right? Demigods do not go back to Golokdham once their world is annihilated or anything that happens, right? Demigod, even Brahma is a Padavi. Once Parvati and Lord Shiva were sitting on the Himalayas, and all of a sudden, right, when they were talking, Lord Shiva saw a small ant was climbing a rock, and Shiva smiled. Ma Parvati knew that there's a bigger story behind it. Why did Lord Shiva smile? She asked Lord Shiva that why did you smile looking at that ant? Lord Shiva said that you see that ant over there. The last lifetime he was Brahma. Right? All of the demigods, Brahma, everything is a position. So that soul, that living being who was Brahma is now become an ant. So if that can happen to Brahma, just imagine what can happen to us if we're not surrendering to Krishna and not chanting Krishna's name. We should not get bewildered. Oh, is Krishna there? Will we even go back to Krishna? Is there even Golokdham? Does all of that exist? We should not get bewildered how Brahma has gotten bewildered over here and confused. We try to oversmart Krishna. We try to think that, okay, that when I'm dying, I will just remember Krishna's name and then I will get liberated. I will go back to Godhead. But it is not that simple. Right? It is not that simple. Once there was a sadhu Mahapurush who was leaving his body, and everyone knew that he would be liberated and go back to Golokdham. So as he left his body, everybody began to cry and also chant at the same time, and also become a witness that yes, our Sadguru has gone back to that Golokdham now. But a few months later, a few saints began saying, no, 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 this sadhu has not gone back to Golokdham. That troubled one of the disciples of that Guru Maharaj. And so that disciple, he heard it once, twice, three, four times, he could not stand it anymore. He said, why are they saying like this against my Guru? And that devotee was actually very elevated. So he began to meditate and see whether his Guru Maharaj was actually liberated. and gone back to the Vaikuntha planets or to Golokdam. And what he saw was at that moment when the spiritual master was about to leave his body, he actually happened to see one of the pieces of food or something. And his mind, instead of focusing on God, began to focus on that food, due to which he was not liberated. So we think that when we die, we will easily remember Krishna and go back to Godhead. But over here, even elevated spiritual souls, personalities, living beings, right? At the end moment, we don't know where our attention might get diverted. Then that devotee, he made that same offering and offered it to his Guru Maharaj. And then he became liberated. So when such sadhus, such personalities also, right, have a hard time remembering Krishna, who have preached about Krishna and about Golokdam, about Vishnu their entire life, and what to speak of us small, regular living beings who have no taste for the holy name. We don't have any taste for the holy name or for the Hari Katha. And we think that we will remember Krishna at the last moment. How can we challenge the system and challenge Krishna like that? So every day we should sit and chant attentively, right? Remember Krishna, best to chant during the Brahma Muhurat and start developing that taste for that holy name. And in that way, when we are doing that, at least if we are doing it sincerely, right, Krishna will see that. And we all can go back to Godhead in this lifetime. Even Srila Prabhupada said that if you are sincerely chanting, then it is easy for you to go back to Godhead in this lifetime. But if you're not sincerely chanting, keep on chanting. Right? Then at one time it will become sincere, but we don't know when that will come. Let us not risk anything in this lifetime and make this lifetime our last. We will end here, and then we continue tomorrow. Before we end, we'll chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Shri Shri Radha Vrindavan Chandra Bihari Lal Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Hare Krishna.